Welcome. Today, what I'm going to show you is how you can get a book done in 5 hours or less. It means, yes, you can have a full draft of your book in less than 5 hours if you apply this strategy. So I'm going to take you through some theory. I got to do a little bit of theory, and then I'm going to take you through some implementation. The tools that we're going to need Google, we're going to need ChatGPT, and a Google Doc to put the text into. Okay, so how to write a book in 5 days or less using the truth method is what I call it. So I'm a huge advocate for the truth, and the reason why is because I hate fluffy content. There's a lot of content out there that give you a bunch of fluff and tell you what and why, and they don't really show you how. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. Okay, so the truth method. I want you to think about the truth. And I say this is nothing but the truth because one of the best things that you can do is all we're concerned about is the truth, right? Most people will get stuck. They will be concerned about their stuff being perfect. And we don't have time for that right now. I want you to know I had a coach. I paid a coach. Her name's Darcy, and Darcy would always say, version 1 is better than version none. So I want you to keep that in mind too. Version 1 is better than version none. Everybody is going to, I want my book to be perfect. Those things don't matter. What matters is you getting your book out there as fast as possible. And I'm talking a nonfiction book, a business book is what I'm talking about. So nothing but the truth method. This is how it works, right? Nothing but the truth means all we need is the truth. We need a core piece. We need core contents of the book. We don't need everything yet, right? So we're going to do nothing but the truth. And then I believe I have some other slides for the whole truth. And if you want help with implementation, you can reach out to me. I can tell you how you can get help with implementation. But I'm going to try to show you everything that you need today. All right, so the truth method is a roadmap for writing your book fast. It's 5 clear steps that guide you from start to finish, making the whole process straightforward, fast, and easy to follow. Here is the truth method in summary. T, you start with T. Truth is an acronym, so you start with T. T stands for niche audience. Then you head to R. R stands for respond with questions. Respond to questions with video or AI. U is unify. You're going to unify your content with the introduction and the conclusion. You're going to make sure it all makes sense. And T, you're going to tie in a specific call to action or a sales letter. You want to tie those things into your book. And then lastly, most people think about the title of their book first, but this is what you want to do first, right? You want to come up with your headline later, especially if you're writing a business book, because we never know what the market wants. There's a book called First 100 Million. And that book is all about titles of books and how just a slight change in title can make a huge difference on a book. So the title is typically last. All right, so there you go. That's a recap. Because you can apply the same thing to a course, right? You can apply the same concept, the truth method. You can apply the same concept to a course. So I had that in there because I was teaching it to some people the other day. All right, so T, start by pinpointing a specific niche or audience you want to address. Understanding your audience ensures that your content resonates and provides value. So that's what T is, right? You really want to think deeply about your avatar. Your book is not about you. Your business book, your nonfiction book, it's not about you. It's not supposed to be full of stories and you can incorporate those things, but your book is not about you. And I want you to keep that in mind when it comes to the content as well as the design. I'm working with a client now, and she was like, I don't like any of the designs. And I said, you can change them, but keep in mind, this is not a book for you. It is a book for your customer and your client. Besides, the first thing you want to do is you want to get your book done so you can make money. You can start to serve your niche and your client, your avatar. And then if you want to write another book later, you do that, right? You write a book for yourself. Next, you're going to respond to questions with video or AI, depending on where you are, right? So typically I recommend that most people do video because the better because that's going to make your content more authentic and more genuine, right? Many people have access to AI. You're watching this video and you're going to see me do some stuff with AI. All of our content can sound the same if we just use AI. So I highly recommend that most people use a video, right? You want to whip out your smartphone and answer questions in video format. And then you can do some tricks. And I recommend using AI to clean up that video and clean up the transcripts. But if you're afraid to do video or you have technical limitations, you can use AI. Okay. And here's how you do that. Respond to 5 questions with video or AI. Identify the top 5 questions your niche audience has. Use modern tools like AI or video recordings to articulate and answer the questions effectively. Okay. So that's the R from truth. Now, next is you. So you has 2 parts. You're going to unpack with introduction and unite with conclusion, right? So overall, once you have gotten your core content out, which is this slide here, your 5 questions, you're going to unpack, right? Which means you're going to let the reader know what you're going to get into within your book. And then unite with the conclusion, you're going to recap and you're going to tell them what they got. So this is what that looks like. Unpack with your introduction. Begin your book by setting the stage, provide context, background, and the problem you're addressing, right? So we've answered the questions, those 5 questions, and now we know what our book is about. So we can create an introduction from that. Unite with conclusion. We know what problem we solved. We know what we talked about in the book, so it's easier to conclude the book, okay? Now, T. This is big for business books and nonfiction books, right? We're not writing a book for the sake of writing a book. We're writing a book with an end goal in mind. We want to educate someone. We want them to visit our website. We want them to join our coaching program. We want them to do very specific things, and we need to tie in those things throughout the book. So my favorite way to do this is to put a sales letter or a call to action at the beginning of the book and also at the end of the book. So I recommend that for you too. And we're using the nothing but the truth method. So that's the bare minimum that you need to start your book. Okay. You don't need to incorporate all of this stuff later, right? You start with one version and then you graduate and you update your book later because you need to get it done. Most people's biggest issue is not getting it done. So we can change all of this stuff later, right? After you've provided value, you've answered those questions. What I want you to do is I want you to incorporate those call to action. So it says here, after providing value, guide your readers on their next steps. Whether you want them to reach out to you, purchase a product, or simply reflect, make this call to action clear. Okay. And this, I talked about this earlier. You're going to headline your book. The title comes last. And I highly recommend you go get this book. First 100 million, how to, the author is E. Haldeman Julius. First 100 million, how to skyrocket your book sales with slam dunk titles. Highly recommend you go get that book so you can understand why the title comes last. Because just a simple tweak to a title can make a major difference. Okay. So a captivating headline or title is important. It should intrigue potential readers and give them an idea about the problems you're solving. All right, so the conclusion, the nothing but the truth method, we just went over it. You're going to start with your target niche and audience. You're going to respond to that target niche or that target audience. So respond to 5 questions that they have generally, right? We want to do bare minimum. I know a lot of people have all these ideas of what they want to teach, but start here and get something done first. And you can always change it a little bit later. Unify with the introduction and conclusion. I like to recommend that your introduction and your conclusion, they become chapters in themselves, right? So far, based off what we talked about, we have 7 chapters of a book. Tying in a call to action and sales letter, they become chapters themselves too. So we're adding 2 more. Based off this truth method, we have 9 chapters, right? So the first 5 chapters are the questions. The next is the introduction and conclusion. Those both become chapters, right? So that's 7. And then we have chapters for the call to action. Those become chapters as well. And then finally, you headline your book, okay? Now, assembling nothing but the truth. This is how you do that. Remember those 5 questions? There we go. We have those 5 questions there. And then we start that. Then we incorporate that introduction. We incorporate that conclusion, sales letter, and we can add it about the author. So you can see how quickly our book is starting to grow. Our business book. This is your core right there, that red box. This is what you generally want to start with. Most people try to start from the beginning and go to the end. Highly recommend you not do that as a business owner or a nonfiction book writer. Here's the whole truth. These are other things that you can add to your book. You might want to screenshot this so you don't stay, but these are other things you can add. Testimonials, dedication, acknowledgments, read this first, table of contents, forward, preface, introduction. These are all things that you can add to your book. So take a screenshot of this so you have an idea of different things that you can add to the book. And one of the things that I like to recommend is that you don't consider the book an actual book. You consider a tool. You consider a tool that you can update and you can assemble. Okay, so it doesn't have to actually be a book. It's a tool, it's a resource. Assembling the whole truth. So these are other things that you can add inside of the book. You can see that there. These all will add depth and content to your book. One of the things, so this page, follow up with the whole truth. So one of the things that people get stuck on is they try to put everything inside of their book. And I can tell you from personal experience, I didn't really have this issue, but later on, once I finished the book, there was several things that I wanted to add to the book. And I did that. I found that because I'm pretty good with implementation, that wasn't much of a struggle, but I've had clients that tried to add everything into their book and they never got it done because they tried to add everything. So my recommendation for you if you want to update your book and you want to add other stuff, I recommend you break it out, right? So the way you do that is you can answer and you can address these questions or the other things that you want to add in a different format. So you can follow up, right? Maybe you finish your book and it's only got 5 questions, but there's a 6th question. How do you deliver that 6th question? Well, you can deliver it in a video format. You can deliver it in a podcast format. You can deliver it in a newsletter format. These are different formats that you can add. So I recommend what you see on the screen, you follow up with different questions that you have or different points that you want to address in your book, right? So get the book done. And then later on, you follow up with other content. Right? So our book, the core of our book was 5 questions and maybe you got 12 questions. So we do question 6 right here, 7, 8, 9, 10. We keep going and we just keep adding questions. And one of the things that I recommend is a newsletter. And a newsletter sounds daunting, but what you can do is you can do a 1-page newsletter. You can do an email newsletter. You can do a video newsletter. You can do a podcast newsletter. You can call it what you want, but these are all things that you can do for your book. Okay. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I want to find the actual prompts. I want to give you some prompts that you can implement for you to do the book. So I'm going to recommend that you screenshot this, or if you want the prompts, I have, you can purchase a copy of my book, which you're going to see on the screen in a little bit. So if you're in real estate, I recommend that you purchase. It depends where you are in business. If you're brand new in real estate, go and purchase Real Estate Success Secrets. The prompts are included inside of that book. If you're not brand new to real estate, I recommend that you purchase Real Estate Marketing Implementation, which is the 2nd book here, right? Purchase this book. Either way, whichever of these books you purchase, the prompts will be in there so you can have access to it. And then lastly, if you're not in real estate, you're not in real estate at all, you want to get the 5-day client attraction book strategy. This book, every one of these books includes the prompts. And this is one of the things that I love about books, because you can recycle and you can reuse content. So what I've done with the Real Estate Marketing Implementation book, inside of that book, I have included the prompts from the 5-day client attraction book strategy, right? I've also included the prompts from the 5-day client attraction book strategy here inside of the Real Estate Success Secrets book. So the prompts that you're going to see, you can screenshot them. You can, what you're going to see on my screen, or you can just go access and download them from the book. All of these are available on Amazon. If you're in real estate, I recommend you go to remarketingbook.com and purchase it there because it comes with bonus items. Same thing with the Real Estate Success Secrets book. In fact, here's what I'll do. Within 48 hours of this book being released, if you purchase from the website, I'll send you both. If you're in real estate, you know what? If you purchase from our website, I'll send you all 3 books, but you must purchase within 48 hours. If you can't do that within 48 hours of this video, then I'm not going to send you all of the books. Okay. So here's the implementation. Here's how you implement the stuff that I was just talking about. I gave you the theory. Here's how you implement. Okay. So you start here, who the book is for. Remember, we talked about that, the T and the truth method, right? Who is your book for? And here's the prompts. Imagine you're an expert about your niche, market, and your topic, right? So who's your audience? You're going to instruct ChatGPT or another recommended AI. And the blue letters there, you're going to put the topic, your niche inside of there. So for example, I would do real estate as an example. I would put real estate directly in there. I would go to ChatGPT and let it know that it's an expert in real estate, which I'm going to do a little bit later. I'm going to do all of this stuff and I'm going to show you a little bit later, but I'm giving you the prompts now. So you can screenshot this or you can go purchase the book where you have access to this. Next instructions. You're going to help me write an easy to understand book about blank. And one of the things that I really want to emphasize, I have a friend or a client that I work with. Her name was Troy. And I just talked to her today. Troy sent me, I said, Troy, what are your goals? And she sent me this wordy sentence. We as experts and professionals, we tend to be too smart. Try not to be too smart in your book. You want to communicate clearly. Be clear, not clever in your writing and your communication. Clear, not clever, because a confused mind doesn't buy. Okay. So be clear rather than clever. This is why we say easy to understand book. Okay. So we're going to start there. Instructions. Your writing style is, and you can change these. Anytime you see blue, you can change it. So your writing style is NLP, and in the AI terms, is natural language processing is what NLP stands for. You might have to be specific and tell it to do that. But it tends to work for me. It understands what I'm saying. Your tone is friendly and conversational. I find that most people like friendly and conversational. I put that there because that's what most people were looking for. And I change that out normally. I instruct the AI to be authoritative. Okay. And action oriented is what I communicate in my prompts. But you can switch this. If you go purchase the book, it comes with a whole bunch of different prompts that you can put and interject, so you can change the tone of your book. This is another one, because when you utilize and you leverage AI, it tends to add its own personality. It starts to go off the rails. And I don't like when it does that, right? Unlock and all these analogies. So I generally tell it to write in plain language and avoid analogies. And I recommend you do the same. We want to be clear, not clever. Please confirm that you understand and wait for instructions. I like to tell it to wait. One of the best things you can do with the AI is work in chunks, right? I know there are some prompts out there, one-click prompt. You just put everything in and you get a book, but they don't tend to be well written. So it's best that you work in chunks. So next, chapter ideas and core content. Here's what you want to do. Your chapter ideas, how you come up with your chapter ideas. Well, remember we talked about the R and truth method. The R is respond. Respond to 5 questions, right? That's the easiest to come up with. So write a list of 5 common questions about niche, market, and topic. And honestly, you can ask AI to give you a list of 5 common questions. However, you need to verify. And this is why on point 1, when I talk about think about your avatar, because technology is pretty good. You don't want to limit yourself by not using technology. However, technology won't understand you. It won't understand your avatar. It won't understand humans as well as we do. It just doesn't have that understanding yet. It's always going to need to be tweaked. It's still not a human. Okay. And sometimes it can be wrong. Sometimes AI is wrong. So you need to verify and you need to make sure you understand your niche and your avatar. So AI is not just giving you a bunch of stuff that looks good, but it's not really good. So you can have the AI write you a list of common questions. I find that you can have a decent experience with Google too, because Google, and actually let me show you this right now live on the spot, because Google is human data, right? So this is my Google. I actually should bring up a new tab and just go to Google. So I bring up a new tab, like I'm brand new. I'm going to stay signed out, and I'm in real estate, so I'm always going in real estate. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to write how to get out of pre-foreclosure. All right. I'm going to do not now. And it's, I don't know why I switched to dark mode. Let's do quick settings and turn that off so it's easier for you to see. All right. So how to get out of pre-foreclosure. This will vary state to state. I know that in real estate, but what I want you to do is I want you to understand how to work Google and how to get that human data, right? Like what are people actually searching for? If I go up here in Google and you can see these are the most commonly searched phrases within Google. So I might use these as phrases or I might use these as questions. How long is the pre-foreclosure process? How to get out of pre-foreclosure? That's a question. How does it work when you buy a pre-foreclosure? These are all questions. And this one here is different than my original intent. And this is why it's so important to verify and you need human input. Okay. So the thing that I want to, the biggest reason why I wanted to use Google is because you can have so many questions, right? So I typed in how to get out of pre-foreclosure and you can see me, I'm scrolling down from Google. They got some ads here. This is not an ad, but you can see sponsored, that's an ad. Sponsored, that's an ad. Sponsored, that's an ad. But underneath the ads, it's going to depend where you are. But underneath the ads, you got people also ask. People also ask. And I love this section because it gives you questions that people are generally asking, right? So question number one that I typed in was how to get out of pre-foreclosure. Question number two I'm going to use is how to turn around a foreclosure, right? These are things, this is what people are asking. So I like these questions and I can verify it right here through Google. What is a pre-foreclosure review period? I'm in real estate, so I know that's going to vary from state to state. And I would instruct the AI to handle that. How far behind on a mortgage before foreclosure, right? These are questions, right? That's question number 4. And then we've got question number 5. So I like these 5 questions, right? And I'm going to grab this. I'm going to copy that to my clipboard. And I'm also going to grab these and copy them to my clipboard just so I have them and I can demonstrate the implementation a little bit later. Now, the next thing I want you to do is, okay, what if you want more questions, right? Well, you can think of your own, but here's what I recommend. You've got Google. And one of the cool things about Google, like this section that I'm showing you here, is when you click around, you start to get other questions, right? So we only have 4 or 5 questions, but we can get more. And the way we do that is we left click this 2 times, right? You see this little caret here, left click once, left click twice. And now it's giving me more questions, right? So we went from 4 questions to 6 questions. So I'm gonna, and depending on which one you click, it will give you questions most relevant to the one that you click. Okay. So it gave me, what is the simplest solution for foreclosure? What is a foreclosure bailout loan? These are questions that it's giving me. I'm going to simplest solution for foreclosure. I'll turn around foreclosure. I'm going to go with this one. So I left click that and it gives me more questions. How do I move pre-foreclosure from my credit report? Can I buy a house with foreclosure on a credit report? How bad is foreclosure on your record? These are all questions that people are asking, right? So I'm going to go with this one, how to turn around a foreclosure. Let's open that one up again and see what it came up with. How to negotiate foreclosure with a bank. How long can you go without paying your mortgage? Will a loan modification stop foreclosure? Okay. I'm going to click that again and come up with some more questions. And you get the point. You get the point. You would grab the questions that are most relevant to you. I recommend 5 to start. And sometimes, like I said a little bit earlier, sometimes people try to put everything or try to get their book perfect or their content perfect. I highly recommend that you do the 5 and you implement the strategies that I'm recommending. And you can do stuff later. You can create videos for the rest of the content, or heck, you can even create another book. You can even create another book. How cool would it be if you have 2 books instead of 1, right? 2 short books instead of one book. And think about this. Would you rather read 1 big book or two short books? Think about that for a second. All right, so now that we know where to get the questions, we can kind of copy and paste these, and we can go put them into ChatGPT. We can do what we need to do. All right, so I'm going to close Google down. I'm going to go back to our slide presentation and our prompts. So the body and the core content. Here are the AI instructions. Write me a chapter for question/chapter name. So this is where you would inject your questions, where you see the blue. So you come in and you would do one by one, and you would insert your very specific question here, question right there, and question right there. Be sure to conclude each chapter. So this is one of the things that I love, and this helps increase the value of your book. Be sure to conclude each chapter with 3 key takeaways in an ordered list format and 1 action item. So the books that we produce and the books that we create, they have very specific agendas. And the agenda is for people to take specific actions. Take very specific actions based on what they learn in that chapter. And we can massage that stuff a little bit later, but this is a key, right? This is a big deal, right? Sometimes you read books and there's nothing to do once you've read the book. Well, our books are very action specific. What do you want that person to do? And the 3 key takeaways are great too, because it's a summary for people that may not want to read the entire book, or it's a conclusion for people that may not want to read the book. So we went over this already, the Google questions. I didn't know this was in here, so we're going to skip right over that. Introduction and conclusion. So here's your prompts for the introduction and conclusion. Write an introductory chapter using the same format. So based off everything that you told the AI, it's going to write you an introduction chapter based on the same format. Then it's going to do the same thing for a conclusion. It's going to write you a chapter based on the same format. And then your call to action in your sales letter. Right? Your call to action, what specific thing do you want them to do? A sales letter that convinces people this is right for them or not, or maybe your services is for them. Contact information. What do you want them? You want them to contact you? You want them to visit your website? Tell them what to do. These are all ways that you can implement this. So here's your call to action. I generally like the sales letters because they become multiple pages inside of a book. They become its own chapter. So say, AI instructions. Write me a chapter as a sales letter. Make sure the chapter informs the reader that I have put as much information as possible in this book, but it's still in their best interest to reach out to me for professional help and assistance. Include a CTA, which is a call to action that instructs the reader to visit my website, schedule a call, or take the next step. You determine what that very specific thing is. Okay. And it's going to depend on your avatar. Maybe you're serving someone and you don't want them calling you until they visit your website. Maybe you want people to go download and access your course. Maybe you do. You want them to call you right away. So these are sales letters. You can write the sales letter and you include this in the front of your book. You include this in the back of your book. Headline, book titles, optional. This stuff is optional, but I recommend you do this. Please write 5 options for a title based on the book above. Topic or description of your book. So you see the blue, you're going to put in your own details in that blue. And one of the things that I like to do is the title. Like now that you know what the content is, the core content, you can even have ChatGPT assist you. Please, you can see right here, this flashing, please come up with 5 persuasive or compelling or catchy or create whatever you decide to put in there, but you come up with titles and you massage those titles based off what you like. So that's how you headline your book. about the author, about you. This is optional, but I would recommend you put that in there, right? Give the AI some key points about who you are, right? Here's how you do that. Here's some information about the author. Item 1, he's from Philadelphia. Item 2, he grew up in, he was bullied. Item number 3, he has 4 children. Item number 4, he loves business, right? And the AI will write me a chapter based on that. So writing about the author section, it can be a chapter, it can be a section. It's up to you which one you want to do using this information. And you have the AI do that. Chapter titles, right? So remember, this is optional, but I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, just questions. And here's how we can get around the questions that we answer, right? And this becomes later, like you answer those questions. It's each question in a list format. So you've already addressed the questions and you put this inside of the chat. What you're going to do is you're going to have AI and ChatGPT come up with some compelling headlines or titles or chapter titles. What do you want? Okay. So you see the blue, turn these questions into compelling headlines, easy to understand headlines, persuasive headlines, you name it, right? Foreword is optional. And here's how you do that. Write me a foreword. This foreword will be by who is a person that you respect. The foreword is optional. You don't have to do this, but as an example, write me a foreword. Write me a foreword. This foreword will be by, so I have a foreword with a colleague, Leanna, and I put her name in. I will put her name in there, Leanna Lang. And it says expertise or niche topic. Leanna is expert on paid advertising. All right, so I'll put that in there. And then I will put relevant and important accomplishments. Inside of there, Leanna is a speaker. She runs a successful company, so I might put those things in there. And I would have ChatGPT write me a foreword based off that. Preface is optional, but this is the prompt for that. Here are some key points on how and why this book came to be. Write me a preface, and there are the key points, and ChatGPT will write you a preface based on that data and that information. Okay? So now let's go implement, right? Let's implement the things that we were talking about. I'm going to go off screen and go with ChatGPT. Banana. I'm going to do 2 screens for you so I can have the prompts up and I can have ChatGPT up. So our prompts are over here. ChatGPT is over here. I think I'm going to have a better time with ChatGPT over here and the prompts here. Okay. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. So here we go with ChatGPT, and I'm just going to go up to my initial prompts. Again, if you need the prompts, go purchase the Real Estate Success Secrets book or the Real Estate Market, any one of these 3 books right here. So you can see. So I'm going to pause on this, search them on Amazon, or go to remarketingbook.com. And if you purchase within 48 hours, you will get access to all 3. We'll ship you all 3 of them. All you got to do is cover the shipping. Shipping is about $8, I think $7.95. We'll ship all 3 to you. Okay. So if you need the prompts, that's where you go. Now, let's go over to, we're going to start to implement the truth method. So remember, T is the target niche and audience. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to copy. I'm going to paste this in over here. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it in over here as well. And the cool thing about AI, it is AI is generous. Sometimes it can overlook mistakes. So I have 2 sets of AI instructions, and that's what I'm going to do. So imagine you're an expert about pre-foreclosure. All right. And you will help me write an easy to understand book about how to sell house. Actually, I want to say how to save credit and sell house to avoid pre. Okay, so here's how we here's what I want to do. I'm gonna move on to my next prompt. All right, no, there we go. Okay, and let's see what ChatGPT says. I like to use ChatGPT 4.0. You can use whichever of these you have access to, but I've been using that one lately and it's been working really well. And then I'm just going to do see what it produces. So ChatGPT will respond differently to you. I'm okay with this outline because I wasn't specific enough with my instructions. However, here's what I'm going to tell it to do. I'm going to copy these instructions over here, and I'm going to tell it to help me write a book about pre-foreclosure. Actually, I'm going to scroll up to my, and I'm going to copy and paste. Copy and paste. And I'm going to go here. All right, then I'm going to go to my next prompt. I'm going to tell it to wait for instructions. I don't want it jumping around. All right, so I'm going to move on to 1C over here. Your writing style is, your tone is. So I'm going to copy these both. They're never initiated. I'm going to paste this here. Your writing style is NLP. Your tone is, I'm going to go with understanding and authoritative. That's what I'm going to go with. All right, you will write in plain language and avoid analogies. Please confirm that you understand and wait for instructions. I'm going to go with yes over there. Over here, now we're going to go with our core ideas and core content, and I'm going to tell it, write me a list of 5 common questions about foreclosure. I'm just going to use AI for now, but you can use the Google method, and I recommend that you use Google method as well. How to avoid pre-foreclosure. Okay, so write a list of 5 common questions about how to avoid pre-foreclosure by selling a house. And I'm going to continue on that. Okay, so these all become 5 questions and they will become chapters, right? So here comes a little bit of work, and this is what I would recommend you do. You're gonna copy that prompt, you're gonna go in there, and I recommend you do it just like this. So ChatGPT or the AI, whichever AI you're using, can understand exactly what you're doing. So you can see my brackets. I want to paste the question directly in my brackets, and I'm going to go place it in directly in these brackets as well. And the cool thing about these prompts is that we have brackets and you can adjust them if you want. So as an example, I'm instructing the AI to conclude with 3 key takeaways. You can do 1, you can do 5, you can do 7. It's up to you. And then relevant action items, same thing. You can do 2, you can do 3, you can do 7. It's all up to you. So now that we have our prompt in there, let's see what happens when we say yes. Okay, so there we have our first chapter. What steps should I take? 1, assess your financial situation, contact your lender, get a professional appraisal. These are all options, okay? And then I'm going to do the same thing with prompt number 2. So what I like to do is I just like to copy the same prompt. So I'm going to find this prompt. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it in. Since I have that in there, and I just replace what's in the brackets. So replace what's in the brackets with your question. So my question here is, how can I determine the fair market value? I'm going to copy that. go down to my brackets, paste that in. Same here, find my brackets, paste that in. And I'm going to keep it with 3 key takeaways and 1 relevant action item in a bullet format. Okay, so that's how you start to write your book. I'm going to skip 3 more questions, right? Again, remember, you are welcome to use the Google method. Now, I want to do the introduction and the conclusion so you can have an idea of how that works. So I'm going to grab the AI instructions, copy that. I'm going to paste that in there and see what it comes up with. Okay. I want to do the same thing with the conclusion. Paste that in. Okay. Here we go. Copy. Paste. Here we go. Write a conclusion chapter using the same format. Okay. And then I'm going to move on to our call to action and sales letter. And call to action and sales letter, I'm going to grab these instructions. I'm going to paste them here in ChatGPT. And write me a, I already read that to you before. Here's what I'm going to do. I want them to, let's say, I want them to schedule a call. So I already have that written in there. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to cancel, visit my website, and we're going to cancel, take the next step. We're going to press go and see what happens. Okay, and you can see it came up, take the next step. You've already made an important decision by investing in this book. Take the next step towards financial freedom, schedule a call. Okay, so it's recommended that I put a link here. I can do that. Okay, and then sincerely, it wants my name, professional title. And sometimes ChatGPT will do things you might not agree with. So I might tell it to, some things I don't agree with is to your name, your professional title, and your contact information. I'm going to tell it my name. My name is Jerome Lewis. My title is author. My contact is all right. And what else did it? Okay. To schedule okay, so I've given the information and I'm going to say, please incorporate So you can see there, it's rewritten as sales letter, and this time I inserted the link that I recommended and the phone number that I recommended. It also incorporated my name, so I have that sales letter, which I would insert into the front and the back of the book. All right, next, headline. I'm going to have it do this. I'm going to copy this prompt. I'm going to paste this in here. Please write 5 options for a title or a book based on the above topic information. Based on the above. Okay, please come up with, so it says 5 here, just to show you how to switch out the numbers. I'm going to do 10. Come up with 10, let's say empathetic. Let's see, empathetic titles for this book. And then I'm just going to do go. Let's see what happens. Okay, you can see that there. It's giving me, probably because I put 2 prompts in. All right, now the about the author section, we're going to do that and copy that. Here's the information about the author. All right, so I've included some items and you can add more or less depending on what you need. And I think I want to, I'm just going to do section. So writing about the author section using this information, I want to go with enter. You can see it came up with a description for me. I'm going to go over here and chapter titles. So this is what I was saying with the chapter titles. Here's what you can do. So list each question in the list format. It should be wise enough to know what questions you're talking about. Turn these questions into persuasive. I'm going to tell it to turn it into empathetic headlines. Okay, so it's giving me some empathetic headlines. You can adjust that if you want. If you don't like it, you can always redo it. You got that option there. I'm going to do that for now. Okay. Next, the foreword. I'm going to skip the foreword, but you're welcome to, you should understand how to use this by now. Preface, I'm going to skip also. And there you have your book. What you would do once you have all of this content is you would go over to Google Docs and you would paste all of this into Google Docs. Now, for the sake of time in this video, because I've already done this, I'm going to recommend that you go and you purchase those books because they have full tutorials on how to format your book and how to put it inside of Google Docs. So again, to see the titles of those books, visit remarketingbook.com or amazon.com. If you visit remarketingbook.com and you purchase within 48 hours of the release of this video, we'll send you all 3. All 3 of them have the prompts within them. If you purchase from Amazon, purchase either one, it will have the prompts within it as well. So that's how you write your book, and that's how you do it in less than 4 hours. That's how you write a nonfiction, business-specific, business-oriented book. And this is how you do it in less than 5 hours. It doesn't have to take you a weekend. It doesn't have to take you weeks, doesn't have to take you 90 days. You can get this done with the assistance of AI in a matter of hours. We've seen today, I didn't even spend a lot of time because I was teaching you. It wasn't focused time. But we saw today in just less than 1 hour, we were able to get a lot of content done for a book.